Have you ever imagined that one day your someone you love might end up sleeping under the roof of a supermarket, inside an old car, or on a park bench in a foreign land? Not because they were lazy, not because they lacked determination, but simply because life abroad doesn't always turn out the way we expect. In today's video, we'll uncover the top 10 countries with the most homeless Filipinos. Each country tells a story, a lesson, and a wake-up call for anyone dreaming of a better life overseas. They're Filipinos just like us, brave souls chasing a better future for their families. But beneath the skyscrapers and bright city lights, tens of thousands of our kababayan are struggling with cold nights, hunger, and heartbreaking loneliness far from home and without shelter. Why is this happening? Is it fate? Or is it the little things we failed to prepare for? Could it happen to you or someone you love? If you care about real stories, the challenges, and the hard lessons of Filipinos around the world, make sure to subscribe to our channel. One story you hear today might just change the way you prepare for tomorrow. Let's begin. Number 10, Italy. Italia, country famous for its beauty, art, and warm hospitality, holds a truth many don't see. Even those who care for others often need to care for themselves. In the cobblestone streets of Rome or quiet cafes in Milan, it's not hard to spot a familiar sight. Smiling Filipinos serving customers, caring for the elderly, or pushing wheelchairs in nursing homes. The Filipino community here is warm, tight-knit, and has a strong tradition of helping one another. Most work in domestic service, a quiet, humble profession filled with kindness and compassion. With around 200,000 Filipinos living in Italy, many have built stable lives over the years. But behind that stability, there are silent struggles. It's estimated that 800 to 1,000 Filipinos in Italy are homeless, living without permanent shelter, staying in cramped, shared rooms, churches, or even sleeping in train stations during cold winter nights. Take the story of Liza, who once worked as a caregiver for an elderly woman in Florence. When her employer passed away, the family no longer needed help. Her contract ended, and her visa was nearing expiration. With no money to return home, she searched for new work, but was rejected due to expired papers. For a while, she slept in a storage room behind a friend's laundromat until a church-based charity stepped in and helped her find temporary housing and legal support. What keeps homelessness from becoming even worse in Italy is the strong sense of unity in the Filipino community. Many are willing to open their homes, share meals, or connect others with charities and support networks to help kababayans in crisis. But no matter how long you've lived abroad or how well you've adjusted, losing stability, whether it's a job, visa, or sponsor, can flip your life upside down in just a few days. When you're far from home, being hard-working isn't enough. You also need to protect yourself from life's unexpected turns. And while Filipinos in Italy often find comfort in each other, the next country on our list, a place known for its wealth and modernity, has strict immigration rules and high living costs that leave many facing homelessness completely alone. Number 9. Singapore. In one of Asia's most advanced countries, where everything runs on rules, structure, and discipline, you might think that homelessness doesn't exist. But even in a place that seems to leave no room for those who don't fit in, some Filipinos live each day with nowhere to call home. Singapore is a common destination for hundreds of thousands of Filipino workers, especially in domestic service and caregiving. Around 250,000 Filipinos live here, many of whom are hardworking, dedicated, and deeply valued by their employers. They're an essential part of everyday life in many Singaporean homes. But living in a developed country doesn't always mean life is easy. With one of the highest costs of living in the world, even those who once had stable lives can suddenly find themselves struggling after losing a job, ending a contract, or having issues with an employer. It's estimated that nearly 2,000 Filipinos in Singapore are facing temporary homelessness, crashing at churches, staying in someone's laundry room, or quietly sleeping in hidden corners of public spaces. Take Joan, a domestic helper in her 40s. After her employer's family moved abroad, her contract ended. She had only a short time to find a new job, but it wasn't enough. Her visa was about to expire. Too afraid to go outside, too ashamed to return to her former employer's home, Joan spent her first night sleeping in a friend's laundry area in a condo building. For days, she lived on instant noodles and water, silently wandering the hallways like a ghost. Fortunately, a church outreach group found her and helped. In Singapore, homelessness is not supposed to exist, but that doesn't mean it doesn't happen. People like Joan often live in hiding, too scared to ask for help, in fear of being reported or deported. They move constantly, live in fear, and often suffer in silence, thinking they have no choice. In a society that values law and order above all, even the smallest mistake, an expired contract, delayed papers, a few weeks without work, can cost you everything. Not because you're not good enough, but because you weren't fast enough to keep up in such a fast-moving system. Number 8. United Kingdom. When people think of the UK, they picture London's charming streets, red double-decker buses, and Big Ben rising against grey skies. It's a symbol of order, progress, and opportunity. Many Filipinos have arrived here chasing a dream of a stable, decent, and lasting life. With around 250,000 Filipinos living in the UK, most are in healthcare, caregiving, and service roles. They're nurses, social workers, carers, people in essential jobs who keep the system running. Many have settled down, gained citizenship, and built families. But not everyone has that same stability. Rising living costs, especially rent in cities like London, Manchester, and Birmingham, have made things harder. Even with a job, paying for housing, utilities, and transport can be overwhelming. And for those who suddenly lose their jobs, finish a contract, or arrive in the UK without support, life can become uncertain very quickly. In reality, 2,000 to 3,000 Filipinos in the UK are experiencing homelessness or unstable housing, something few expect in such a modern and opportunity-filled country. Take Maria, a single mum from Cebu who worked night shifts in a nursing home near London. After her hours were cut due to budget issues, she couldn't afford rent. She sent her child to stay with a friend in Leeds and moved into a women's shelter for immigrant workers. "I thought no one would ever be homeless in the UK," she once said, but she ended up spending nearly 2 months in a crowded shelter with 6 other women, no kitchen, no privacy, and no idea how she'd earn enough to eat each day. The UK has decent welfare systems, but not everyone knows how to access them, especially new arrivals or those without legal papers. Some Filipinos stay silent out of fear their expired visa will be discovered. Others simply don't know how to apply for housing support because of language barriers or complex systems. Number 7. Japan. Japan, a country known for its discipline, safety, and order. Here, trains run down to the exact second. People line up even in the rain, and every street corner is spotless to an almost unbelievable degree. For many Filipinos, Japan represents a civilized and stable life, a place where If you work hard, you'll find your place. Indeed, nearly 300,000 Filipinos are currently living and working in Japan, mostly in the healthcare, service, and formerly entertainment sectors. Many of them have adapted well, learning the language, understanding the culture, and maintaining stable jobs. But like in many other countries, stability here has its limits. When contracts expire, visas aren't renewed, or jobs are cut, life can spiral into crisis very quickly. And with Japan's strict immigration system, foreign workers often have very few options once they fall out of legal status. It's estimated that 4,000 to 5,000 Filipinos in Japan are now homeless or living in unstable conditions. While the number isn't large compared to the total community, in a disciplined and reserved society like Japan, psychological isolation often makes the situation far more difficult. Take Eric, for example, a technician hired to work at a factory in the outskirts of Tokyo. When the company restructured, his contract was cut short. Losing his company dormitory, Eric ended up living for nearly a month in a public restroom at a small train station using hand soap for personal hygiene and surviving on discounted lunchboxes from convenience stores. He couldn't bring himself to call home, only sending a short message. Everything's fine. In Japan, very few people ask for help. Filipinos are no exception. Due to language barriers, a cultural reluctance to burden others, and fear of deportation, many choose silence. But that silence is often what pushes people deeper into the abyss. In a country where everything runs on time and with precision, your life must also be on track, otherwise you may be left behind. And once you fall off that track, getting back on isn't easy. Number 6, Australia. With its long beaches, clear blue skies, and laid-back lifestyle, Australia has long been considered a promised land for many immigrants. For Filipinos, it's a symbol of opportunity, education, and stability. Around 300,000 to 400,000 Filipinos currently live in Australia. From vibrant cities like Sydney and Melbourne to smaller towns in Queensland or Victoria. However, behind the high standard of living lies a reality that isn't easy for everyone. Living costs in major cities rank among the highest in the world. Rents continue to soar, and newcomers, or those on short-term contracts, often don't qualify for housing assistance programs. It's estimated that 5,000 to 8,000 Filipinos are facing homelessness in Australia. They're not necessarily living on the streets. Many are staying in overcrowded shelters, shared rentals, or sleeping in cars and garages of friends. One story often shared in the community is that of Alvin, a student from Davao. After finishing his studies, Alvin stayed on a short-term work visa. However, when he couldn't secure a stable job in time, he lost his residency rights and could no longer legally rent a place. For 3 months, Alvin lived in a shared car with 2 friends doing delivery work by day and taking turns sleeping in the vehicle at night in parking lots. He once believed that as long as I study hard, things will be okay, but life abroad often takes unexpected turns. In Australia, many Filipinos struggle not because they didn't try, but because they underestimated the true cost of living, from rent, insurance, and transport to complex, bureaucratic procedures. A mix of overconfidence and lack of information leaves many unprepared when jobs are lost or visas expire. And while Australia's biggest challenge lies in high living expenses and red tape, the next country, one much closer to home, poses a different threat: legal uncertainty and the fragile lives of thousands of undocumented workers. Number 5. Malaysia. Close to the Philippines in both geography and culture, Malaysia has long been a familiar destination for many Filipino workers, especially those looking for quick job opportunities, low costs, and no need for high-level qualifications. Many arrive through agencies, while others come via friends' referrals. Legal or not, their goal is the same: to find work and send money home. Today, an estimated 325,000 Filipinos are living in Malaysia. But unlike Western countries with well-defined social welfare systems, most Filipinos here work in the informal sector as domestic helpers, nannies, or manual laborers. And that leaves them extremely vulnerable. It's estimated that 8,000 to 12,000 Filipinos in Malaysia are homeless or living in unstable housing. Many lack proper documentation. Some lost their jobs and couldn't afford rent, ending up in overcrowded, unsanitary, and unsafe shelters. Take Joel, for instance, once a cook at a local eatery in Selangor. When the pandemic hit, the restaurant shut down, and he lost both his job and his visa. With no family nearby, Joel stayed in his old boarding room near an industrial waste site, sharing 2 mattresses with 7 others. They used rainwater to bathe and cooked meals on an old gas stove. He said, "When it rains at night, the water drips on my face, but I can't leave because I have nowhere else to go." The issue of undocumented labor in Malaysia isn't new, but it's worsening as immigration policies tighten. Many Filipinos are detained or deported. Some get stuck because they can't afford a ticket home, or simply don't want to return empty-handed. The saddest part is, many of them once believed Malaysia would be safer because it's nearby, because jobs are easy to find, and because there's a community. But that very familiarity made them overconfident and led them into the traps of informal labor with no way out. Number 4, Canada. For many Filipinos, Canada represents an ideal society: peaceful, modern, multicultural, and with a strong welfare system. Clean streets, fresh air, and a society that respects immigrants make it a dream destination for those seeking stability and long-term security. Currently, around 850,000 to 1 million Filipinos live in Canada, of the largest Filipino communities outside the Philippines. They work across various sectors: healthcare, hospitality, customer service, education. Many have settled down, started families, bought homes, and even become citizens. However, not everyone who arrives in Canada experiences a smooth start. It's estimated that between 10,000 to 15,000 Filipinos are currently homeless or living in unstable housing situations. This isn't due to laziness or lack of skills, but rather the skyrocketing cost of living, especially rent, which has outpaced their income significantly. In cities like Toronto and Vancouver, rent for even a small room can take up 6,070% of a worker's wages in low-paying jobs. For newcomers without family support or facing issues with work permits, life becomes extremely difficult. Canada's welfare system is relatively comprehensive, but accessing it is another story. Language barriers, lack of information, or fear of being judged lead many Filipinos to suffer in silence when facing crises. And that silence often pushes them deeper into hardship. Number 3, UAE. When people think of the UAE, they often picture Dubai skyscrapers, massive malls, and luxury living in the desert. For many Filipinos, it's seen as the land of opportunity, where they can work in service, retail, hospitality, or as domestic workers and send stable remittances back home. There are an estimated 680,000 to 800,000 Filipinos currently living and working in the UAE, forming one of the largest immigrant communities in the country. But behind the glamour of Dubai and Abu Dhabi lies a reality few talk about. Around 25,000 Filipinos in the UAE are believed to be temporarily homeless or without stable housing. While not all of them sleep on the streets, many cram into small, shared rooms, makeshift dormitories, or even sleep at their workplaces due to unaffordable rent. A major reason is the outdated labor sponsorship system where a worker's residence status is tied to their employer. Losing a job means losing both income and legal right to stay. In many cases, Filipino workers face sudden contract termination, unpaid wages, or confiscation of documents, leaving them trapped with nowhere to go. The story of Leo, former security guard at a shopping center in Sharjah, is one example. After his company went bankrupt, he lost his job and wasn't paid for the last 2 months. With nowhere to go, he slept on the rooftop of an old apartment building with 3 fellow countrymen. They took on any odd jobs they could find: delivery, cleaning, saving every dirham just to pay visa fines and return home. But those days stretched on for over a year. In the UAE, many are afraid to seek help for fear of arrest, fines, or deportation. In that fear, they accept makeshift living conditions, hide away, and slowly lose confidence in themselves. Life here may look glamorous, but it can make one feel incredibly small, especially when you have no job, no documents, and no one on your side. Number 2, Saudi Arabia. For many Filipinos, Saudi Arabia isn't the top choice on their go abroad for a better life list, but it's one of the easiest places to find quick employment, especially in domestic work, construction, security, and healthcare. These jobs may not be prestigious, but they provide a steady income to send home each month. An estimated 1.2 million Filipinos live and work in Saudi Arabia, making it the top Middle Eastern destination for Filipino workers. Yet behind that opportunity lies some of the most heartbreaking stories of undocumented, homeless, and stranded Filipinos. Around 40,000 Filipinos here are believed to be homeless, stranded, or in unstable housing conditions. Many were once legal workers but had their contracts terminated, documents withheld, or wages unpaid, leading to the loss of legal residency. In Saudi Arabia, the kafala system historically prevented many workers from leaving exploitative jobs, as their residency permits were tied to their employers. While recent reforms have been introduced, many workers still aren't aware of their rights or are too afraid to leave risky situations. Homelessness here is not just the lack of a bed. It's a form of isolation. Many are afraid to go to their embassy, afraid of arrest, deportation, or going home empty-handed. They live quietly, avoid attention, and slowly disappear from official records as if they never existed. Number 1, United States. For millions of Filipinos, the United States is more than a destination, it's a dream. The American dream, a life of prosperity, fairness, and opportunity. Many have studied, worked, and persevered to set foot in this land, and it's true many have changed their lives for the better. Today, around 3.5 to 4 million Filipinos live in the US, making it the largest Filipino community in the world outside the Philippines. They're nurses, engineers, caregivers, drivers, workers, and small business owners. Many have settled down, own homes, and hold US citizenship. Yet tens of thousands are struggling day by day without a home right in the heart of one of the wealthiest countries on earth. An estimated 40,000 to 60,000 Filipinos in the US are homeless or living in unstable housing, especially in high-cost states like California, New York, and Hawaii. Take the story of Rhea, 52-year-old, former restaurant cook in Los Angeles. After the restaurant closed during the COVID-19 pandemic, Ray lost his job. Without legal residency documents, he couldn't claim unemployment benefits. His savings ran out, and after 2 months of missed rent, he was evicted. Since then, he's been living in an old truck parked by the roadside, washing up at gas stations, and eating donated soup and bread from charity missions. I used to think hard work was enough. But America isn't as easy as I thought, Ray said. Homelessness in America is a deep-rooted social issue, not just for immigrants, but for native-born citizens too. But for undocumented or newly arrived Filipinos, the problem becomes even more critical. They aren't eligible for housing support, are afraid to go to the police or social services, and often live invisibly hidden in plain sight among bustling neighborhoods. America offers opportunity, but it also comes with immense pressure to survive. Rent keeps climbing. Wages can't keep up. And if you lose your job, lack insurance, or have no support network, you can become homeless in just a few weeks. In any country, rich or poor, homelessness doesn't always come from laziness or irresponsibility. Sometimes it's just one cancelled contract, a delayed payment, or a fall with no one to catch you. You've just explored the 10 countries with the highest number of homeless Filipinos across the world. Each place tells a story of opportunity, risk, hope, and unexpected hardships. If you're planning to work abroad or are already living overseas, remember this: hard work is not enough. You need legal knowledge, financial preparation, and a support network to rely on in tough times. And if this video gives you a new perspective or something to think about, don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can continue exploring the real lives of Filipinos around the world. See you in the next video. Ingat ka palagi.